Welcome to the very first episode of the Recharge Travel Podcast. And unfortunately, we were so excited about making our podcast for you today that we completely forgot about making an intro. So we're coming back and doing it after we've done all of our recordings. So I'm going to be your host, Jason Lawrence.
And I'm your lovely co-host, Nicole Potter.
And this is the Recharge Travel Podcast. We hope you like it. Welcome to the Recharge Travel Podcast, where today's episode is going to be about creating the Recharge Travel Podcast. We're going to have some ups and downs, been a little bit of fun, and a couple of technical difficulties, but we are going to make it through it. So please bear with us. We will get better. Welcome to the show. So what do we talk about, the purpose?
Yeah, I think that's the purpose, right? To inspire people to get out and travel, get off technology, and experience the world we live in. That's our purpose in our podcast. The why is like, I mean, we don't have to talk about the why, but...
What is the why?
The why is like, why are we doing it? Personally, like, why are you doing it? Why am I doing it?
Because we want to get out and travel.
Yeah.
Because we want to travel more.
Yeah. I mean, we don't have to talk about that. That's just what they talk
Well,
about.
what do you think the why should be?
Why would be free? It would be separate. You would have your own why, not my own why.
Well,
It's
okay, then
personal.
fine. What's your why
What's
then?
my why? Oh, I don't know. Why? Because this man roped me into it. No, just kidding. My why would be, I guess I'm just like, I don't know. See, I don't know that I want to get into my why, so we don't have to have whys. Let's just have a purpose.
Oh, so now you want to drop it now. Now we got onto you a little bit.
Are you recording this right now?
No.
Okay, good. Okay, I like that. Purpose, cool. Name of show. I don't think it needs to be anything more than that. Do you?
Do you like the Nomadic Traveler, or do you want to do something different?
That's personally my favorite.
Or do you want to do the Recharge Podcast?
Recharge Podcast. What do you like better?
I don't know. You could do the Recharge Traveler Podcast. I don't know.
Because that does fit in more with our purpose. Because our purpose
Because travel recharges you?
to get people out there to get recharged and experiencing life. Nomadic Traveler is like kind of more of like
I'm just out there drifting around.
like the minimalist movement and like just like letting things go, and
Is it?
that's what I take nomadic as. No?
Let's see what Google says.
I mean, it doesn't have to be that, but it just means like you're just like kind of more free and you're just...
What is a nomad? Oh, I didn't ask Siri. I should ask Siri, I guess. I don't even know how to get Siri on my phone. What is a nomad?
Here is what I found.
Oh, and he didn't say anything. I thought he was going to read it to us. A nomad is a member of a community of people without a fixed habitation who regularly move to and from the same areas, including nomadic hunter-gatherers, pastoral nomads, and tinkerer or trader nomads. As of 1995, there were an estimated 30 to 40 million nomads in the world. Nomadic hunting and gathering following seasonally available wild plants and game is by far the oldest human subsistence method. Subsistence method? I can't talk.
So basically, yeah. So yeah, just being a nomad means like you're kind of giving up the traditional life and you're just like going out and you're just living that minimalist, like I'm just going to go out and enjoy things. I'm not going to be like
So are we saying we like Recharge Traveler better?
I think it goes better with our purpose. Do you?
Do you like the Recharge Traveler or the Recharge Podcast?
One of the things I read said not to use podcast in your name, and I like the idea of traveler because then when people search traveler or recharge, that's going to pop it up.
The Recharge Traveler.
If we say just recharge podcast.
Or the Recharge Travel Podcast. I know you're not supposed to use podcast, but
No, you
you know,
can. You
we can be
can.
rebels. I
We
mean,
can,
I don't
yeah.
care. I'm totally up to being a rebel.
I just think that like if we have a different word in there, it's going to pull up more searches, right?
I think having traveler, traveler probably helps people find us.
Yeah.
Because otherwise people are going to be like, what's recharge? They might think like recharging their cell phone at the airport or something.
I think...
I need a plug.
Traveler? Recharge Traveler Podcast. Recharge Travel Podcast.
I think the Recharge Travel Podcast sounds better.
I think it flows.
So do you want to do the Recharge Travel Podcast instead?
Yeah, I kind of like that.
Oh. Now we're on to something. Okay, write that down.
Okay.
Put that in our notes.
Alright, so we are at...
Recharge Travel Podcast.
Okay.
Only on Netflix.
Formerly known as the Nomadic Traveler.
Yeah. Only known as the Nomadic Traveler, which never made it to air.
We can have you guys vote. Which do you like?
Oh, that'd be fun. Let's let our guests vote. Okay, we have 3 people today.
So we have 4 people. 2 chose this, 2 chose that. So we're gonna.
So now everything's even. So now we're still back to square one.
Yeah. Plus, like, I don't know. I think it's good for us to choose Recharge Travel Podcast.
All right, so we've made that decision.
Cool,
What's
got
the
it.
next decision?
I like it. So we have the purpose. So we need to write out like what else we want to say that first. That first one, because we're gonna just. This isn't gonna take very long to just talk about like what our podcast is and who we are and like.
Well, what is it? Tell me. What is
Did we
it?
just say?
Huh?
We just said it. To inspire people to get out and travel, get out of technology, and experience the world we live in.
Get off of technology. Get off of technology.
Well,
Get off of your cell phones. Get out of your house and go experience life. Yes. Get out of your
Travel is obtainable for everyone.
your miserable cell phone, television, computer existence. And go to a state park or a national park.
Sure, yeah.
Do something fun. Get a travel trailer.
Also, experiences together. I
And,
think that's
yeah.
important to me too. Like
Yeah.
families and
What's your best experience that you've had, like, on a vacation? Like, where you've actually got to meet people and, like...
like meeting new people.
Yeah.
Ooh, I do like the aspect of it though, because we're gonna do that a lot.
I'll write it down.
So okay.
We could do that as, like, a segment every show if you want.
Yeah. Move back to the segments. I like that. Where are segments?
So that's kind of like always like my favorite thing is where I get to meet, new
Yeah.
people on travel, and it's like it's always like the weirdest places. I remember I met a guy when I was in Panama City Beach at a scooter rental store, and the guy was just cool, and I don't even remember like what we talked about, but for some reason I remember that experience, and I remember just like sitting there talking to him, and it was just such a weird.
Yeah.
Basic thing, like it's just a scooter rental place, but the guy was just really cool, laid back, gave me all kinds of tips about things to check out, and I don't know, I kind of liked it. So
What should we? There's gonna be some type of clever name for like on the road friends. I'm just thinking of things.
over the road,
People we
friends.
met.
We can name the segment later.
IRL.
IRL.
So apparently there's a thing, I just learned this like 2 days ago. IRL is like in real life because people have like their online friends and then in real life friends.
I like that.
So like
My in real life acquaintances.
that might pull in more of that generation. I just learned about that. like a couple days ago. So.
I have heard that IRL thing before. I forgot about that.
But what's the one that's for?
Because I'm so,
online friends.
I'm from Indianapolis, so I always think of like Indianapolis 500 Indy Racing League IRL. That's what when I hear IRL, that's what I think of.
I always think of like a website. Isn't that like it? That's like the website. Your URL. That's what I
was gonna say. I think you're thinking of URL. Yeah.
Okay, well, what's the? There's in real life, but what's the one where you're online? Online. Oh.
I don't know.
OLF?
I am not a millennial. You would be from that era, so the show is going to depend on you for these kind of things.
We'll just say like in real life friends. For now, we know what that means.
IRL.
I remember when I was like, we used to go to Myrtle Beach every Thanksgiving, and we would see the same kids. Like as a kid, I'm not like a teenager ish. We would see the same kids, and I remember like making relationships with those kids, and you talk to them all year long. And then you'd go back. And
they always had the same vacation week that you did?
Mm-hmm. Well, everybody would go for Thanksgiving. It was always the week of Thanksgiving. We'd all have Thanksgiving on the beach together. That. And you would, like, get together with somebody that week. And, like, you would be together that week. And then you break up. And then the next, like, summer you come back. Or the next, whatever, you come back. And I don't know.
So you're saying you, like, had vacation booty or something? Or?
No, not like that. It was just, like, you'd be friends with that person. And then, like, you get along. And then the next year you meet their brother or whatever.
Meet their brother? Oh my gosh.
I'm just joking.
Wow.
No, but I mean it was just cool though because you kept in contact, but then like you got to see them again the next year. I don't know.
I didn't ever have any experiences like that.
No, and then we always went with our church, so then like you get to be with your church.
But when I moved to Florida and we lived in the travel trailer when we first moved down there, we met all these different people that was like their thing. They would go back to the same campground every year, and they would get like the same exact camping spot, so they would have the same neighborhood. It was like this whole summer camp thing to me, and I'm like, no wonder all the people want to do this when they retire, because they come down here and they're like, oh, Joe's back, let's go see Joe, and they eat dinner together.
Yeah, and you're not like driving to see each other or saying
no, you just walk down the street. Yeah, like Joe's a couple sides down. Let's go see Joe. And what's he been doing? What's he been up to? What do you do in the off season? What do you do in the summer? So it really had this summer camp vibe, and I'm like, I can really see why people enjoy this.
What I'm hearing too is relationships.
You form relationships through travel, absolutely.
Yeah, so like that seems like that might be part of our why. Like building
relationships formed through travel. I like that. That's good.
Because I think if we play that up, we can play that up a lot anywhere we go. That's what I love about that. Is because, that can be if we're out west, if we're up north, south. That's something that we can take with us.
Down south.
Relationships. I like it. I like it a lot. Okay, well, I wrote out a lot about finding a camper. Like all the things we talked about.
Well, maybe the first episode should be about setting up the podcast and doing like all the notes and like all this kind of stuff, like what we're doing right now. And then the next one is the finding the camper.
Yeah.
And then we transition into maybe the budget traveler episode.
Okay.
With Greg.
I like it. Okay, so we need to make what we want to talk about as far as like building the podcast. Okay, so building the podcast. No, let's say podcast construction.
Podcast construction. We're going to have to pull permits for this.
Okay. Okay, where did this idea first originate from? Like, when did we first say, like, okay, we're going to make a podcast? Like,
well, I've kind of had the idea for a travel podcast for a long time. This isn't really new for me.
You just came up with it? Dang, that's not a good story. Okay.
That's not a good story. How's that not a good story? I've always wanted to have one, and now we're having one.
Okay. Why now? I guess maybe that's the question.
Because I got off my butt and did it.
Okay.
And you wanted to do it too, so here we are.
So Jason,
that's your name. And I went out and bought a fancy computer and a couple microphones, and here we are.
You always wanted to make a travel podcast.
Yeah. I just feel like, because I come from the age where we didn't have, I remember getting a pager.
Yeah.
I remember having a pager when I was young. So I come from, the era where I played outside. It was the whole you went outside until it got dark thing. And, we used to go to state parks as a kid and, all kinds of stuff like that. Now I just feel like everything is so focused on technology and just like sitting on your smartphone, and like I see it all the time when you go out to like dinner and people are like sitting there texting, they're not even talking to each other. So that's what I think is great about travel, because it's like, put away your phone, go out, experience some people. People don't bite, it's okay. People aren't going to hurt you.
Yeah.
And I think it brings you closer together with nature, brings you closer together with other humans. And I think as humans we need other human interaction, and I think that's what's lacking in a lot of people's lives now, is they don't have enough human interaction.
You're recording this right now.
Okay, well I am.
Oh, okay.
I lied earlier because I didn't want you to get nervous.
I hate you. Don't record that. I don't hate it. Damn it. Okay, what do we say? What am I writing?
Now, see, don't start whispering. See, this is why I didn't tell you, because I wanted you to speak naturally.
Okay. Okay.
What else? What's the next step?
Okay, so we found out why we wanted to do it, or how we came up with the idea. And you were just like, hey, you're on board. And I was like, okay, I'm on board. So we decided why we wanted to do it.
Well, I told you about it. You decided that you wanted to do it too.
I was like, okay, that sounds
You're like,
good.
hey, that sounds like fun. Let's do that.
Yeah. Okay.
So, and now we want to transition into doing it from a travel trailer. So that's our, that's my why, is to be able to go out and travel and meet people and record conversations that we have with people at campgrounds and show people,
Yeah, I think part of my why too was, I'm not gonna lie, you made me read that book, 4 Hour Work Week, that talked a lot about that idea of like
mini retirements.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then I was like, and this guy's talking about doing like month-long trips. That sounds great. Like that sounds really good. Yeah. So I think that's what kind of pulled me on board too. Was like, hey.
So yeah, you go on a month-long trip and you record a couple podcasts, go experience some things, get off your cell phone, get off your computer.
Okay.
Go enjoy life.
So then, Jason bought a nice computer.
An iMac.
Sponsor, not sponsor.
Sponsor, not sponsor. We'd love to have you. Love to have you, Mac. Apple. We'd love to have you.
Okay. So then we got a computer.
And then we got Mike. We use the Blue podcaster mic. Shout out to Blue. Again, not a sponsor, but we'd love to have you.
Sponsor, not sponsor.
Sponsor, not sponsor.
Yeah, and so it took a lot of trial and error of like watching a lot of videos. I feel like we've watched a lot of videos too.
I've watched a ton of different podcasting videos. Yeah. I use GarageBand to make our podcast, so I've watched bunches and bunches and bunches of YouTube videos on how to make a podcast using GarageBand. So, and then we've had to research where to host it at, how to get it onto iTunes, how to get it onto Stitcher, which at this point, while we're recording this, we're not 100% sure even how to do all this yet. So, but we're going to get it rolling, and hopefully we'll be able to figure out how to do all that. So we went with Libsyn. Isn't that what we're going to go with to host it? So Libsyn's going to host it for us. And then we just get it on iTunes somehow, and then it has like a link to the Libsyn. Is that how it works?
So from what I understand, we put it on Libsyn, and then they post to iTunes, and we get about
like automatically. Yeah,
I think so. That's my understanding.
Okay.
I mean, we have to do more research, obviously.
Let's hope you can find us out there.
If you're listening to this,
we're going to be out there. Yes, if you're hearing this, obviously you found us somehow, and we want to thank you.
Yes. We also then started brainstorming just about who we know that travels and how.
That's where we came up with Greg, the budget traveler.
Yeah.
So we got a couple more people too, but we think Greg is probably going to be our first guest. So we'll see how he does. If he doesn't go very well, then you guys might not ever hear the budget traveler.
Well, and I think it's important just to come up with people who are more experienced than I Of course, I'm not very experienced in traveling.
So Nicole's going to be our rookie of our show. You've traveled some though. Where have you been? Where have you been?
I've been Florida, North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, Savannah area. It's my favorite. And then Michigan, Tennessee.
So we're recording this in Indiana, so pretty much everything that's within an 8 to 10 hour drive of Indiana.
But always dreamed about the West. I still dream about the West, and hopefully that will become a reality soon.
So that's our goal, is to have a podcast in many of the national parks out west, like in California and stuff. So coming soon.
Yes.
We're excited about that.
Yeah.
So that's going to be the next show, where we talk about the travel trailer.
Yes.
And getting it all outfitted and ready to go so we can have a mobile studio. And we need to get a website. So we're going to have to get a website going.
Yeah.
So, and we're going to put our website on our camper so people can find us and they see us at the park and they want to come and talk to us.
I think it would be cool just to see our progression too, like not being experienced myself. Jason a little bit experienced in traveling.
I'm a little more experienced than you, but I still don't have a ton of experience.
Yeah.
So I've flown a bunch. I've been to Florida. I have been out to California. I've been to LA multiple different times. I've been to San Diego multiple different times. I have been to Mexico, where I've been to Cancun and Cozumel. And I've been to the Bahamas and Grand Cayman. So, and then Florida a million times, just like everybody else from Indiana.
Oh, I have been to Canada last year.
Oh, yes.
Shout out to Niagara Falls.
So you do have one up on me, because I have not been to Canada.
Yes. That was a pretty amazing trip.
So that's definitely on my bucket list. I do want to go to Canada. I went to Niagara Falls when I was really young, but I would really like to go again. So that's another thing. I wouldn't mind doing the show for maybe Niagara Falls or something.
Did you go to the Canada side or the US?
No, I think it was the U.S. side. I don't really remember. I really honestly
yeah.
don't remember very much. It was when I was probably 5 or under.
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
Well, I went when it was frozen, so I would love to go when you can actually go.
So you couldn't go on the Maid of the Mist?
No, everything was frozen. You could go under the waterfall, which was kind of cool because you could see it from the side. But as the water's coming down, it's freezing and flying back at you. So it'd be nice to go.
So it's like turning into snow?
Yeah. It'd be nice to know where you could
So the falls were actually frozen, or?
No, it was like as it was coming down, it was down at the bottom, then it was kind of freezing, and then it would fly back up at you. It was kind of cool.
Interesting.
Because you're on like the side underneath the falls in like a tunnel.
Okay, I know
At the
what you're
very
talking about.
bottom, which was kind of cool.
Yeah, so I've never done any of that stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, I think I just remember like seeing it like from like a platform, like on the side or something.
Yeah.
So.
And I remember also like reading all the stories about people who attempted to go over the falls.
Like
I
in
feel
the
like
barrel.
Yes, and then like boats that accidentally went over. How do you accidentally do that?
You don't want to be a barrel rider?
No, because I want to do this podcast.
If I go over in a barrel, I might not make it. All right, we're back. So what'd you think about today?
Today was a struggle.
Yeah, we had a rough day today. So, in case you guys didn't know, we recorded half of the show one day, and then we recorded the other half the next day. So, the first day, we tried to record everything with only one mic, and it didn't work out as well as we had expected. So, we went out and bought some new equipment, hooked some new things up, made some changes, had a bunch of technical difficulties, had to sit on the phone with Apple for about 2 hours trying to figure out why the second mic that we got wouldn't play nice with the first mic. And we needed a few other things. We are located in Indianapolis, Indiana, which is where we record the podcast. And we're experiencing a blizzard today?
Yeah, lots of ice and snow and wind and everything else.
So we shot a little video today about us going out and getting some splitters and some stuff in the middle of a snowstorm in my truck. So we'll put that up a little later on our, Facebook and Twitter?
Yes, yeah, on our Facebook.
So, yeah. So, we'll put that up for you, and you guys can check us out going out in the blizzard to try to get splitters so we can make this podcast for you, our lovely fans.
Yeah, I think like when we were researching about building a podcast and like watching videos, it talked about, just like building your content and what you're going to say, but not a lot about the technical aspects. I feel like that's really been hard for us.
So we spent a lot of time trying to write scripts and making sure that we had not scripts, but like outlines, nothing scripted. But we wanted to have outlines in place so we knew what we were going to go over and stuff. And we didn't spend as much time on learning the technical aspects of things. And it turns out that it's a little bit more complicated than we had once expected. But we're here. We powered through. We are now recording at 1:58 in the morning. But we're here enjoying everything. So we're glad to be here. So what else do we want to cover?
Yeah, I think this would be a good time to do our quick 5 segment.
So we're going to do the quick 5?
Yeah.
Okay. So I get to ask questions to you?
Yeah.
Since you're the official rookie.
I'm the rookie guest today. Sounds good.
Okay. We're going to do our quick 5. This is going to be a new segment that we're going to do every week. And we're normally going to do it with a guest, but because we're new and this is the new show, and we thought we would start with Nicole. So question number 1. Where is your favorite place in the U.S.?
So, like we mentioned earlier, I've not been very, very far west or anything. I've stayed kind of local where I am in the U.S., but I guess my favorite place would have to be Savannah, Georgia. I went there, was it 2 years ago, with my best friend and my daughter, and we spent a lot of time just like seeing all the historical sites there. And then also we went to Tybee Island, rode in a boat with the dolphins and things like that. And it just had that feel of like old time, really calm. Everybody was really nice. Paula Deen's restaurant, sponsor, was amazing. And so that's probably my favorite place so far that I've been.
I hear Savannah is like one of the most beautiful places in the world.
It really is. The trees they're so mossy. They have this moss that hangs down, which I don't remember the name of it. But apparently there's like bugs that live in it, so don't try to take it home because that's what we did. But it makes it so beautiful because they just kind of hang down and decorate all of the trees. And there's probably 20 different towns, little town squares in Savannah, and so you can go visit all of those and kind of learn the history of each one of those. So pretty cool.
I heard that when in the Civil War, when the North was marching south, that they were going through and burning everything. So they were burning all the towns, and they got all the way down to Savannah. And when they got to Savannah, the general said that Savannah was so beautiful that he couldn't bring himself to burn Savannah. So Savannah is some of the oldest real estate and architecture in Georgia. And the reason it's still there is because they didn't burn it like they did everything else.
That's really amazing. I could definitely see that. I know one thing that we learned when we were there on like a little tour was they talk about speaking of burning, the way that they used to burn, like if there was a fire or whatever, each town had a number. So if you were town square 1, you were 1. If you were 20, you were number 20. So if you had a fire, you'd have to bang this giant gong 20 times if you were the 20th little town city before everybody would come running with their buckets of water and pails and things like that. So we thought that was pretty interesting too.
So did all the rich people live in number 1?
I wouldn't doubt it. For sure.
All right. Number 2. If you could go one place, where would that be?
Good question.
Anywhere in the universe.
In the universe?
It could be Mars.
Oh, well, I'm not really big on flying, so I don't think I'd want to go to outer space. But I would definitely like to go to Ireland. I've heard it is beautiful, a lot of green, like rolling hills and trees. And from what I heard, there's a lot of drinking there, which would be kind of nice. And then just a lot of like old history as well. I guess I kind of into that. So definitely Ireland. Hopefully going to make that happen in the next few years.
Do you want to go kiss the Blarney Stone?
I do, of course.
So what I hear is you lay down and you bend over backwards and you kiss the Blarney Stone like over like the edge of like a wall or something.
Oh, okay.
So everybody thinks you just like walk up and like kiss something on the wall. And apparently you have to lay down and bend over backwards and you kiss it backwards. At least that's what I've heard. So
Okay. So you got to be a little acrobatic for that.
So you're gonna have to do a little spot for us and tell us what Kiss of the Lombardi Stone is like.
Do a little video.
Yeah. Okay, so the third question is, what is your favorite mode of travel? And I'm gonna guess it's not flying.
So flying is something I want to definitely get over, and that could be a episode down the road. Because I used to fly as a kid a lot, but as an adult, it's been something I just don't enjoy. My favorite mode of travel is probably like just cars and road trips. I really like all the little things you can see along the way. Usually every summer we go to St. Louis from Indianapolis, and there's a little town that we stop at on the way. It's called Small Town Big Things, and it has like a lot of the world's largest. And so that's just something that we do every year. It's the same thing. So you think you get tired of it, but it's just something that like when you travel on the road, you're really getting to know people. You're stopping at gas stations, you're talking to people, different things like that. So I think definitely car or any type of like road travel is what I'm really into.
So follow-up question.
Yes.
What is your favorite thing in the small town, big town?
Ooh, my favorite thing is probably so they have this world's largest mailbox, and at the bottom of it there's an ice cream shop, so obviously that's a plus. But you can actually bring your mail, and you go up into the mailbox. You have to climb like it's like five flights up, and you climb up there, and you can mail your mail, and then you can look out where the opening is to the mailbox, and you can see the town and kind of look down on everybody. And then back in the back, there's another candy shop at the bottom, so that's probably my favorite. And then there's also a giant teeter-totter, so world's largest teeter-totter, which is pretty fun. But the last couple of years, it's been broke, so that's probably my.
Did you break the teeter-totter? Why'd you break the teeter-totter? Come on, Nicole.
No comment.
You got to share with everybody else. So on the mailbox, did you mail a letter to Santa?
I did not, unfortunately. We didn't know that you could mail until last year that we went. So next year when we go this summer, we'll have to bring some mail.
So you go every single year?
Yes. We usually head to St. Louis for the City Museum, which is another great spot. It's basically kind of like a jungle gym museum where they've taken different structures from different cities and combine them all, and they make slides and tunnels and cages and caves, and it looks really, really dangerous, but it's not. They also have some old airplanes you climb up in, and on the roof there's like a Ferris wheel, so you can do the Ferris wheel on the roof at night and look out in the city. And so we usually drive there, stop at the small town big thing, and then we hit up the City Museum, and then usually for dinner we eat at the Ranch Place.
The Ranch Place, what's that?
So the Ranch Place
like ranch dressing?
Yes, exactly. It is a restaurant that has like over 50 different types of ranch. And so
it really is ranch dressing.
It really is. I can't remember the name of it right now, but it's basically you get this big platter of fries, and then all around the fries are little cups, and that has a label of like each cup and what it is, and it's different types of ranch, from like pineapple ranch to like sriracha ranch, and like whatever your heart desires. You could try them all, so it's pretty cool. We used to do that.
And you like ranch, don't you? You're a pretty big fan of ranch, aren't you?
I am. Ranch and carrots, that's my thing.
Interesting. Do you go in the St. Louis Arch every year?
No, we did go last year, but it was under construction for a while. And it's always really hot up there, so.
Isn't that an already existing thing? What do you mean it was under construction?
Well, basically, the bottom of the arch, where you could go, it used to be like a park. That was all taken out, and they were redoing the park, and so you couldn't get to the arch unless you were going up. The only time that you could get there was if you were going up. There used to be like a museum there and everything that you could go and just explore without actually going up. But now they changed it, and so you have to actually go up in the arch in order to be around there until the construction was over.
Interesting.
pretty cool.
Okay, on to the next question. What is your best travel tip?
Oh, my best travel tip. It probably goes out to parents, just because I'm a parent personally, and so, my best travel trip is just to like make sure that you're creating things that are gonna keep the kids entertained in the car. Lots of snacks.
Bring lots of board games.
Yeah, we drove to like I said, we went to Savannah. We drove from Indianapolis, so that's about 12 hours. And what we did was we created a string that hung from the driver's seat in the back to the passenger seat. And we put the numbers of hours, so 1 through 12. And then each hour they could pull, one number off so they like visualized. Ooh, so you hear that question is, are we there yet? Are we there yet?
They don't have to ask you, are we there yet?
Yeah,
anymore.
you're like, okay.
I like that.
We're on number 7, so you gotta wait.
Are we there yet? Look at the number.
So we did that, and then we went to the Dollar Tree and just got, I think it was like, we got 8 surprises for each kid. So it was just a brown bag with like some toy from the Dollar Tree. And that way, every time that they were like, I'm bored, or, started to complain, we could be like, oh, do you want a prize? And pass those on back, and then they entertain themselves with that for a while.
There's some plastic monkeys.
Right. I mean, it does make for a messy car, so get prepared to have stuff everywhere. But if you're not hearing a kid constantly complain, I think that's worth it.
You just clean it all out when you get home.
Yeah, exactly. Or it's a rental and you just make it a mess. It's okay.
You just leave everything in there. That wasn't our stuff. That was already in there when we got here.
So I think that's one of my biggest travel tips as a parent is just really preparing, because flying off the seat is not going to work.
Okay, follow-up question again. What's your favorite kind of rental car?
Oh.
Do you guys take a van or?
Usually an SUV of some sort. I really like the Jeep Patriots. That's what we usually get.
Okay.
Just something off the ground, but still small enough to like drive easily. But you can see higher. If you're up higher, you can see more and a little easier to drive. And then there's lots of space in the back for all your
get up
bags.
high, huh?
Yeah. So that's definitely my favorite. And I like to always be the driver.
You always want to be the driver?
Yes.
You bogart the driver's seat. You don't let anybody else drive?
Yep. Yeah. I want to be the driver and the DJ. I want my music.
We're going to drive my speed, and we're listening to my music.
But yeah, I definitely would recommend something off the ground.
All right. Okay, last question. How does travel recharge you?
Oh, that's a good question. Yeah. I definitely think that many of you don't know this maybe, or I don't know, but I'm a social worker or studying to be almost done with it. And I work in the field now. And so a lot of times they talk to us about self-care, practice self-care, which is really just like rebuilding yourself so you can give to others.
Is that like taking a mental health day?
Something like that, yeah. Mental health day, a lot of times, pictures will be like, oh, do your nails, or, little things. It's to the point where, like, in school, when we hear the word self-care, we're like, everybody's like, self-care. We're tired of hearing about it. Because in our line of work, you're constantly busy. You're constantly, finding resources, and you're meeting with this person, and you're just go, 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 go. And then you're told to do self-care on top of that. And you're just like, I don't know what that looks like. So for me, I think travel would be my form of self-care. Even if it's just like a weekend. A few months back, me and a friend of mine, we just randomly, one Friday night, we're like, okay, we're going to leave and we're going to go stay at a hotel. And it was actually just on the east side of Indianapolis. It was a courtyard. And so in the middle, there was obviously a courtyard, there was a fountain, and there was tables. And just stayed there for like the night, just a Friday night. Not a lot going on. But I think just like getting out of your element, getting out of your neighborhood, being away just completely changes who you are and gives you a little bit of a breathing room, I would say, for the future to go back and do more at your job. And so that's something that I want to do in the future, obviously more, especially with this podcast. So I want to go out west. I want to go on longer trips. I want to go on weeks, things like that. Just because I think it's really important. You can't really fill anyone else up without fulfilling yourself. So if I have nothing to give, my bucket's empty, then I won't be any good for people. So That's what travel gives me, definitely.
You got to fill your cup up in order to be able to overflow to others.
Yeah, for sure. And then I think also too, meeting other people on the road, that really recharges me too, because I think when you are in your area, the same area all the time, you're stuck with the same influences, the same people and things like that. When you get out and you meet new people, you're refreshed. You see that there's like, oh, there's a different life out there. So that's something that builds me up too.
Awesome. All right. Well, thank you for taking our quick 5.
For sure, definitely.
All right. Let's do the next segment. All right. Our next segment is going to be called Today's Shout Out. And today's shout out is going to be in place of a sponsor. Since we are brand new, we do not have sponsors yet. So until we get sponsors, we've decided to do a daily shout out to one company or another that we like for one reason or another, and we think that you guys might benefit from. So today's shout out is going to be Max Air, and Max Air does vent fans for travel trailers. Since 1988, Max Air has produced high-performance vent covers, vent fans, replacement shrouds for all types of RVs. So the reason I like Max Air is because they have the fan built in the top, and the cover opens up, and the fan is on the back of the cover. So you can have the cover open even in a rainstorm, and you can still be ventilating your camper, and you don't have to worry about getting wet. So it's a great product. They're very reliable. Never have any problem with it. I highly recommend it. Check out Max Air Vent Fans. All right, and our next segment is called Don't Do That. The Don't Do That segment is about your biggest travel regret or mistake that you have made when you were traveling that you want to share with people that might help them to not make the same mistakes so they can have a more enjoyable trip on their next trip. What's your biggest travel mistake?
Oh, so this one happened probably about 4 years ago. It was a big travel mistake. So I had gotten tickets to see the Yankees-White Sox game.
Boo, Yankees. Just
Shut
kidding.
up. In December for Christmas.
Wait. Are you a Yankees fan or a White Sox fan?
Yankees, for
okay,
sure.
Okay.
Derek Jeter. And so I got tickets for Christmas, and the game was in the summertime. And so we started our trek up to Chicago because that's where it was, and we were just going up for the day. So we took some cash and everything, and our car, we were on our way, just listen to our music, having fun, no cares. Just really excited. I'd never been to a Yankees game before. Watched a lot on TV with my dad.
0 care is given.
I was just really excited to be like Rose from Derek Jeter, because we were right on the third baseline, about 4 rows up.
Nice.
And so I was just like, okay, I'm gonna be able to smell him from here, so it's gonna be great.
Dream man.
So on the way there, obviously, Chicago has a lot of toll booths and toll places to stop. And I think it was like, I don't know, something like $12. And I realized, I was like, oh, we used all our cash. That's cool. That's fine or whatever. And we get going and we get ready to go park. And we realize that one of us did not bring our car. So me and my friend at the time that was with me, we both looked at each other and we're like, oh, we don't have our card. And we used all of our cash for the toll booths.
So both of you forgot your card.
Yes.
Not just one of you.
Yeah, no, I thought, oh, like, this is a gift for me.
Because I was going to say, was it you?
No, it was both of us. And so we were just like, okay, here's what we can do at this point. We can either not go to the game and then just try to get home, or we can figure out a way to still do this. And so we drove around forever to find parking that was free. It was about 2 miles from the stadium. So we were able to find street parking and just walk to the stadium. And we got in, we used our tickets.
There's free parking in Chicago?
Yeah, you have to walk quite a ways. It was some neighborhood.
I didn't know that existed.
Yeah, and I'm really good at parallel parking because I've kind of lived in the city my whole life. So I think I just whipped it in a spot and got in there and we get in there and it's hot. It's summer. We're boiling hot. We're at the, close to the baseline, so there's no shade over us. And I'm just looking around. We're looking at everybody has these like giant hat full of nachos and giant hot dogs. We're just like, oh, we're so hungry. And I'm like, what? How does this happen? So we're like running up and down the aisles, going back for water at the water fountains and everything. But I'm like, you know what? It's cool. Like, this is a once in a lifetime. I've never been to a game. It doesn't matter. This is still awesome. So we're all still got smiles on our faces and just really happy and excited and everything. We go to leave the game and we're walking back to the car. And I was just like, so it costs us money to get here at the tolls. How are we going to get home?
Uh-oh.
And I think that's when it hit us. And we were like, okay, we're going to need to ask for money. And so
who you asking for in Chicago for money?
Well, we walked back to the stadium. And I was like, okay, maybe people at the stadium, they're going to be generous. We just won the game. They're going to be excited. And we can tell them, we just went to the game, explain the situation. It took us a good 2 hours to get enough money from people to say yes. It was one of those very humbling things, though, because, you always get people coming up and asking you for money. You're like, yeah, okay, yeah, right, and things like that. But when it's you're like, okay, this is very humbling. Some people are really stuck. So we eventually got enough money, and we got through the tolls, and we got home. And the first thing we did was we went home and went inside, got the card, and I think we went to Denny's because it was so late at night. It was midnight, I think, and we were like, okay, we're gonna eat. So I guess my biggest travel regret is just not being prepared, and not taking the right amount of money, and having that crazy experience.
Denny's, sponsor, not sponsor.
Great breakfast grand slam.
Are they still in business?
I think so, yeah.
I don't know if they're still around or not.
Yeah.
I haven't seen one in a while.
They have the grand slam, which just went with our theme.
Your baseball theme?
Yeah, the grand sandwich.
So what time did you end up at Denny's?
I think we got there about, like I said, midnight. But we probably left at 1 or 2 in the morning. And got home, and I just remember being so exhausted. But still, even though it was a travel regret, I feel like it's just one of those things where you just gotta experience those things and know that those are gonna happen.
That's a good learning experience.
Yeah, because even if you have your travel trailer and you're going on this long trip and it's gonna be great, you need to kind of be prepared that things are gonna happen.
There's gonna be things that are gonna happen.
Yeah,
especially the travel trailer. Little things happen all the time.
You're going to get a flat tire or, something's going to happen. And you can either ruin your trip by having a poor attitude, or you can just let it go, laugh it off, ask strangers for money.
You had a good attitude and you drank from the water fountain and begged strangers for money.
I wouldn't say I had a good attitude the whole time.
But at least the Yankees won, right?
That's right. That's all that mattered. And I got to see Derek Jeter.
Did you get to shake his hand or talk to him? Or
I did not.
Did you throw yourself at him? Or
No, I did not. Not at that point.
Well, maybe we can get Derek Jeter on the show.
Yeah.
Maybe he can come on and tell us about his travel.
Yankees, sponsor, not sponsor.
Sponsor, not sponsor. I don't think the Yankees sponsor anything.
Except for themselves.
Yeah. Okay, excellent. Yeah. Good story.
So we're going to go ahead and start our segment called Today's Hidden Gem, which will detail a new spot every week on an off-beaten path, something that you might not normally stop at to see. If you have any of these of your own that you'd like to submit, please hit us up at rechargetravelpodcast@gmail.com, and we love to feature you in an upcoming episode. Today's hidden gem comes from the Indianapolis Catacombs. They are large underground systems traditionally used to bury the dead. However, the Indianapolis Catacombs are the basement remains of the Tomlinson Hall building. The catacombs offer tours May through October, 10 to 1 on the half hour, and are located near the city market. The city market is full of good and local food. I would just suggest stopping in there. They also have one of the only vegan restaurants called 3 Carrots. The catacombs were used in the 1900s to provide people experiencing homelessness with shelter and food. But many theories still exist about a lot of supernatural phenomenons. So if you get a chance, go ahead and go check those out and let us know what you think.
Coming up next episode on the Recharge Travel Podcast, we go to the Indianapolis RV Expo and we try to find a travel trailer that we can use for our new mobile studios. We go there twice. We come out with 4 travel trailers. We thought we had it narrowed down. We thought we were doing a pretty good job. And we go a second time. We're like, okay, we're going to narrow it down. We're going to come out with 2 and then, or maybe even 1. And we're going to know, what we want to buy. And instead we came out with 8. So see how we came out with 8 different travel trailers. And maybe you can help us narrow it down and come up with a solution. So that's what's coming up next on the Recharge Travel Podcast. Would you like to hear some outtakes? Yeah, we thought you might. Coming up next episode, we go searching for a travel trailer that we're going to use for our new home for our mobile podcast studios. The episode's good. We go through the Indianapolis, what was it called? Yeah, we're going to have to redo this. This ain't going to work. This is shit.
So today we're going to start a segment called Today's Hidden Gem, which will detail a new spot every week on an off-beaten path. Something that you might normally see or not. Shit. Okay, start me over. Fuck.
Welcome to the Recharge Travel Podcast. I am your host. I'm going to have to turn the speakers up.